Hey, how's it going? In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at UK's aviation industry and some of the changes that are coming into effect. There's recently some of the work has been published, which I personally believe is very important for UK's aviation industry. It's in particular some of the obstacles and what they're looking to solve within UK's, in particular within drone technology. Myself, I have reached out to UK's aviation, civil aviation industry. Myself, I have reached out about 4 months ago, asking for license if it's something that currently in the process and what would be required to operate any drones. I was trying to understand at the time we didn't have anything, but now I stumbled upon an article that was released about 14 days ago, so more or less. And within this article, it says that new trials move to UK and overall UK's industry closer to allowing everyday drone deliveries and flying beyond visual line of sight. So now, hopefully, hopefully some of the work and myself reaching out to this agency as well. Perhaps there was other people within industry reaching out to this agency as well. Hopefully, I'm not entirely sure. Hopefully, so now they have noticed, and now they are taking action, and perhaps overseeing some of the projects and what will be required, what will be the main obstacles, if anything. Personally agree with some of those agencies out there when it comes to perhaps health and safety, if anything. Let's highlight this fact, right? So if at the time there was a lot of pushback coming from agencies just because they would not necessarily be able to supervise people. Everyone can do whatever they want, but they need to govern people, right? So we're talking about agency that needs to govern people. So none of those drones would potentially damage, hurt, or in any other way affect people on the ground, right? So how you can maintain and oversee that? Uh, my personal understanding that one person most of the time was looking after one drone, right? Was at the time when I had reached out to this agency about 4 months ago or so, more or less. This is what I have spoke with them about, as well as they have sent me a lot of forms to fill in, a lot of documents, right? Because I don't know, people are taking drones. I don't know, the overseeing perhaps buildings, perhaps take pictures of the I don't know, parks or whatever people are doing with those drones. Taking pictures and filming things, which is great, right? But myself, I'm interested in the business context, right? So how can make it valuable if one person needs to oversee one drone? That's not necessarily from a business standpoint of view. It's valuable business point just because it will be very costly, right? So I'll have reached out to this agency. I spoke with one person. I think I had arranged for a number of meetings, but I think I managed to get through because everyone's busy, right? I spoke at least one person. I spoke with a number of individuals, right, almost every day. But either way, I spoke with a person. Professionals there. Professionals there. They're busy. Some government institutions. Some of those are just busy doing busy things, right? Filling in paperwork. Not necessarily it's important. But this agency in particular was solving problems. I have a child. Spoke with the people. Was trying to understand what would be required. If anything, I personally believe that they're gonna be looking to operate drone services, something similar to what taxis are doing right now. So you need to take out a license in order to be able to deliver people from point A to point B within the cities, and was something similar. So I was trying to understand what would be a legal framework, what would be legal requirements. I was reach out to understand that, and at the time I didn't have anything. But let's come back to this article and let's delve into more detail about some of the announcements that was been made here within UK recently. So new trial. So currently everything's on trial, right? So hopefully everything or people or projects approaching it with the core being cautious and perhaps people out there don't mess things for other people. I don't want none of those drones landing on anything on myself. I'm trying to do my best, so hopefully people are there staying on their toes and they know what they're doing. But either way, six projects has been chosen for trials under the UK Civil Aviation Authority scheme that will help make beyond visual line of sight BVLOS, drone flights, and everyday reality. So six projects been accepted. So I don't know how, but I'll try to get this information myself. At the time when I asked, they didn't said anything about it, so I don't know what's happening. Perhaps it's gonna be license that you need to file a paperwork for. There might be some administration fee, and then you might be able to receive permission to operate that for perhaps 2 years or so. From there, perhaps that's how they, depending on the region, depending, so not that many projects have permissions to do that. From research that I was doing some time ago, there was just one place in Australia that was able to do that, and that was firefighters who have got the permission to do that. But once they take on the trial periods, I have read a lot of articles that within the matter of 24 months or so, there's going to be big players coming to the market and perhaps trying and doing what they can, in particularly logistics solutions companies. They will try rolling out on a larger scale. But before we can do, before we, before we can do anything, we need to make sure that we can do it safely and securely and costly, effectively, with high quality standards. So everyone's happy. Customers happy, government's happy, customers happy, shareholders happy, everyone's happy about the way how some of those services are being done, right? There are within those six projects, there are names for people out there. I would highly recommend to do their own research. Perhaps if you are interested, you can reach out to this organization yourself. Perhaps if it's something that you are interested in doing, if you're looking for new opportunities, once you have, at least that's how I'm going about it. Once you secure license, from there, perhaps common sense secure finance. If it's something that this organization or other government organizations, once they give you permissions to operate, perhaps from there you can secure finance and perhaps launch your project. But again, there's the risk involved with everything, right? So, as well as there's those some of those markets of there might become very competitive, right? So if there's some of those, I have reached out to the different councils within UK, right? And they're already doing it, and not necessarily interested in letting another project in. Just this is what's happening. There's a lot of airports, right? Some of those airports are being occupied, right? People are already doing a lot of projects within those airports. Even to some extent, they're not necessarily those airports, secure locations, airspace within those airports. Perhaps it's not in use currently, perhaps, but those councils might not be interested in investing in another project, another group of people who might be able to fulfill some of those projects. I don't want to share too much information because all the different projects out there is perhaps looking to solve different problems differently. And you need to do your own homework and trying to understand where are the problems, perhaps access to batteries, or all those problems that you might have within this project. But if anything, perhaps I can cover that with other videos within this video. Or if anything, I would like to highlight the fact that things are changing, things are moving for perhaps for better, and making perhaps for a lot of people cheaper to receive deliveries. Perhaps not necessarily the way how we currently having a mailman coming in bringing, I don't know, envelopes and everything. Perhaps that could be outsourced to technology and hardware. Sandbox is something that I covered already. I like the way how they described it because to most extent that would be just the hardware and software, not necessarily people doing it, which is great. Which is great. Some of those concepts I like it the way how people are approaching this subject. It seems like a very techy. So those people do definitely to some extent they do understand the hardware software and perhaps they can offer a lot of value. Sandboxes are control environments where organizations can test their innovation technologies against the existing regulatory frameworks, helping helping applicants maximize the readiness of the innovation. So progressing something like hurdle already, progressing from level 1 or the perhaps ideas phase all the way to perhaps 5 and scaling your project. Yeah, if you got really good business model which can succeed, doesn't really matter how many players are in the market, right? You might be able to buy out all these projects right up there in the market. That's an option there as well. The new groups, new talented people are there within the market either way. And also help UK's Civil Aviation Authority develop better, more efficient ways to develop new regulations. These new trials will help develop plans for how drones can be safely integrated with other airspace users as part of regulators' wider airspace modernization strategy. I'm not entirely sure, but this is what they told me during a conference call some time ago. Things are changing all the time, but I think you need to notify it every time when you're lifting something in the airspace. That can be tricky. Every time when you're lifting something in space, aerospace about the city, you do not notify someone. I don't know. So there's a lot of challenges there, right? So if you need to do, especially depending on what city, how crowded the city can be, and how often you need to notify it, and how accurate those people are. So again, there's a lot of challenges that can come. It seems like there's a lot of opportunities as well as those opportunities might come with the new challenges. The trials will consider new policy concepts that focuses on specific type of airspace structure called temporary reserved areas (TRAs). Again, it's new thing. It's new thing. I'm not entirely sure how we're looking to solve this problem. May they? I have done a lot of research to understand how technology companies do that. So I understand that solutions and how those technology companies operate. I'm not entirely sure about aerospace and how they operating those. It's perhaps more difficult, more complicated, as well as weather, wind patterns, all those problems right, that come with it to enable the trialing of systems and approaches to safely enable drones to operate within the same airspace as other aircrafts. Again, so sensors or whatever case might be. So there's a whole lot of challenges. How many projects can operate at the same time? Prior to new concepts, drone operations or venting to fly beyond the line of sight typically have to apply for temporary danger areas (TDA), which will effectively close a section of airspace for most other users for up to 90 days. So I'm not entirely sure. Again, everything's constantly moving. Everything's changing, constantly moving. I don't know, can you operate within the cities? If it's cost effective to operate within the cities, or is it better to operate in perhaps in distance areas, right? Perhaps. So there's a lot of projects there as well as the drone technology itself and how drones can operate those. So either way, that's some information there. If you are interested in finding out more, I have developed a course for people out there who would like to become more effective, productive, efficient when it comes to accomplishing your goals and ideas that you might have that you would like to set for yourself. Have developed particular systems. Those systems haven't been taught in school. Some of those systems have been tested by time to make sure that those systems do work and how you can organize things, as well as where to begin. Key areas, I have identified 12 different areas which I personally believe are very important. I have published this course in different formats to help people out there, depending on the way how you prefer to take in information with the PDF file, text, videos. If you need further guidelines, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Leave a comment below. Just a couple of notes. The Civil Aviation Authority sandbox approach helps applicants maximize regulatory readiness of the innovation and also help regulators develop better, more efficient ways to develop new regulations. So that could be potentially way how to do things, right? So in remote distance area where nobody can perhaps harm themselves, so health and safety of people on the ground and perhaps cars, vehicles, houses, everything can be protected. People can take small steps, secure finance, so all the work can be overseen, secured, maintained. So that's just one way how the different projects can be launched and operated, as well as perhaps some of those areas I have highlighted already and perhaps worth mentioning. I will be touching on as well as perhaps raising capital for some of those projects if you are interested, depending on your readiness level. There's a lot of investors up there, in particular in this project. There are a lot of investors interested in this project. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.